Hi all, welcome, welcome, welcome to Musical Story Time. I am not a pig with Michelle and Alan. My name is Alan. I am the tech person. I'm going to be doing everything behind the scenes. Michelle is going to be our wonderful storyteller today, and we're super excited to have her here. We are doing something a little bit different. So we do have our webinar set up. So you are not able to see other videos, and we don't have a chat box. However, if you have any comments or questions, you can use the Q&A box to let us know, and we can answer your questions either verbally or we can type out a response. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to Musical Storytime, I'm Not a Pig, through the Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum. And we want to welcome Michelle on too. Welcome, Michelle.
Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody out there. Welcome. Bienvenidos. So awesome to have you with us here today or tonight, depending on where you are in the world. Like Alan said, Alan's behind the scenes doing all the awesome tech stuff. I'm Michelle, and we both work at the Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum in beautiful Tucson, Arizona. And we are here on the map in Arizona in the Southwest United States in the Sonoran Desert region, la región del desierto sonorense. So we got Arizona, some California, and then down into Sonora, Mexico, and Baja California. So that's our amazing region in which we live here and we love to share about. We have an amazing diversity of plants and animals who live here. And today we are going to be focusing on one animal star of our show today. So this is an animal that has small beady eyes. So everyone show me your small beady eyes. Put your hands up to your face and pretend you have small little beady eyes. Yeah, they don't see very well, this animal. This animal also has kind of a long snout and a big nose on the end of it. Everyone put a big nose on the end of your snout. Sniff around a bit. And you might hear some grunting come out of this animal. What animal do you think I'm talking about? I bet a lot of you are thinking, a pig, it's a pig. But no, it is not a pig. It is an animal often confused for a pig. So let's go to our slideshow. I want to show you a javelina, because the javelina is the star of our show today. And we have several species of javelina that are from and live in North America, Central America, and even further south into South America. So if we can get the slideshow up, I want to show you there are a couple different species of javelina. The ones you see in the top left are in Costa Rica. The ones on the bottom left are in Belize. And the one kind of in the middle there, on the middle left, is a beautiful furry javelina in Bolivia. And then the baby with the mama on the right there, that's a species that's found further south in Mexico, and further south than that. And there are a lot of different names for this animal. We've got, in English, Javelina, Peccary. Some people call it a skunk pig, which you'll figure out why soon enough. Y en español se llama jabalí or cochijabalín. And then on the right top of the screen, you can see how it's written in the indigenous Tohono O'odham language, Cochi. So the next slide, you'll see the species of javelina that lives here in Tucson. And not only is it here in Tucson and down further south into Mexico, it goes all the way down to Argentina. So this collared peccary that we have here in Tucson and further down south, gets its name, its common name, collared peccary. How? Take a look around its neck. Does it kind of look like it's wearing a collar or a necklace around its neck? It's not literally wearing a necklace or a collar, but it's got that nice white stripe, that lighter colored stripe of color going around its neck. And that's why we call it a collared peccary, Tayasu tajaku. And you can see those little babies on the left there. We call baby javelina reds because they've got that cute little red headish color going on before they grow up to have their more brownish, blackish colors, beige colors. All right, next slide. We're going to do a comparison of the pig and the javelina because scientists are really, really specific about grouping animals into their different types of groups, into their different categories. So the pig and the javelina are in two separate groups. The pig, or el cochino, is in a group called Suidae. And I pretty much just realized that that's why you might hear farmers, at least I've heard farmers in the movies, say suey when they're calling to their pigs, because that's the name of the group of animals, Suidae. And then the javelina are in a group called Tayasuidae, javelina. And they've got some similarities that we can see. I mean, it's no wonder that they're often confused with each other. You can see they both have those little beady eyes. They have those long snouts with the nose on the front, that characteristic looking nose. But there are some differences. On the next slide, I want to tell you about some differences in their behavior and how they act and how they live. The pig is a solitary animal. That means it pretty much lives alone. No es un animal muy social, el cochino. But the javelina is a very social animal. You can see it's there with a group, with a family. And so the javelina is a social animal, and they can live in family groups, in herds, of about 5 javelina to maybe 50, 55 javelina. I mean, that's a pretty big herd. Usually it's more around 10 or so javelina, but anywhere between 5 and 55, they can have some pretty big herds. And these animals have their specific family groups, and their families defend their territory. So they have a territory where they live, and the places where, that includes the places where they sleep and where they eat. Now there are a couple of physical differences too. Let's look at the next slide. And a big difference we'll see is in the teeth, the front teeth, the canines, which we call the tusks. So if you look at the pig, which is a wild boar here on the left, look at those tusks that are sticking out of its mouth. They're pretty long and curved. So you see how they kind of curve like that? They're long and they have that curve to them. But if you look at the javelina on the right, what do you notice that's different about the tusks of this animal? Well, the tusks are not quite as long. They're pretty sharp and they're straight. So they're straight and a little bit shorter and definitely pretty sharp. Let's think about why that is. So let's come back to the studio here, and we're going to do a little comparison using our imaginations. So imagine that you are a piggy. You're a pig. You're living on a farm maybe, or maybe you're a wild boar out somewhere near the farmland. And you're in your habitat. You want something to eat. What you gonna be eating? Let's look for some slop and eat up that slop. Maybe you'll dig around to try and find some insects or some roots of plants, and you can dig around with your nose and your hooves, and your long curly tusks do just fine for that. Now imagine that you are a javelina, a collared peccary, like this one. You see the collar there? Yeah. And you are a wild animal. You're not from Europe across the other side of the world like this little pig is, where the habitat's very different. You are a javelina in the deserts of Tucson. So imagine you're a javelina and you're in the desert in Tucson. You're looking around, you're looking for something, or rather smelling for something to eat. What is there a lot of in the desert? What kind of plants are there a lot of in the desert? I want you to find your Q&A box, if you can, and let me know if you're a javelina in the Sonoran Desert looking around, what's one of the types of plants that you'll see a lot of? They're green, they're juicy and watery on the inside, and they're pretty spiny. What do you think? Yeah, cactus. Exactly. We've got a lot of cacti in the Sonoran Desert here. And that is a tasty treat for a javelina. So imagine that you're a javelina, you found some prickly pear cactus, like this, and you're gonna chow down on it. What about the spines? You don't have to worry about the spines of the javelina because you have a real tough snout and a real tough leathery mouth. So the spines don't faze you. And the water is so nice on the inside too. It's a great resource for you. And even though most animals can't eat the prickly pear, they cannot eat the prickly pear because it makes them sick. It gives them a stomach ache. But not javelinas. They don't care. They can eat that prickly pear cactus and they're fine. Now, you're still a javelina, so imagine you're going through the desert some more. Looking for some more food. Ooh, look what we found. What do we got here? We got some mesquite bean pods. Yes. And, oh my, those look pretty hard. Should we try to eat them? We totally can as a javelina because we have strong jaws and teeth that are good for crushing up these really hard seeds on some of the plants that we have here in the Sonoran Desert. So we don't have to worry about that. Now, I have something really cool to show you. I think you're gonna like this. It's kind of crazy, but I have the skull of a javelina. I don't know how this javelina passed away. We do not kill animals to get artifacts like this. Never, never, never. What we do is if there's an animal or an artifact like this that's already dead, that already exists, we acquire them from other places for research and for study and for teaching. So we can celebrate that this javelina hopefully had a good wild life. And now we're getting to celebrate it even more by taking a look at its amazing features of its skull. So check out those tusks. Wow. They're pretty sharp. Now look at how the tusks rub against each other as the jaw opens and closes. What that's doing is sharpening those tusks. So as the javelina is opening and closing its mouth all day, it is sharpening its tusks. And that is going to be real helpful for slicing open plants and all the things that they're trying to munch on. Pretty amazing, right? And then they have these strong jaws and they can grind up their food back there in their teeth. Really cool. All right. Let's see. So I think it's time to get started with our amazing story. So what we have today is a book called Don't Call Me Pig, a Javelina Story, written by Conrad Storad. So this book is going to be about how javelinas are not pigs, which is our theme of the day. So let's get started. Yeah, the round four story, children. Welcome to my story. Please pay attention well. I'm an odd-looking creature, and I have a tale to tell. I am a javelina, but I have other names, you see. In hot, dry Arizona, I'm called collared peccary. And we talked about why that was. You can see the collar on these javelinas too. My body is thin and muscular. Among cactus and pines I roam. I like the rocky scrubland. The Sonoran Desert is my home. There's a beautiful Sonoran Desert scene. And check out that animal right there. Maybe some of you recognize it. What kind of lizard is that? That's a Gila Monster. Yeah. I live with lots of family members. The herd can grow quite big. Though I'm shy, I've one request. Don't ever call me pig. So there's a family group of javelina. But wait a second. One of those figures in there is not a javelina. Can anybody see which one is not a javelina? And guess what it is? I want you to enter in your Q&A box. What do you think that animal is that's hiding amongst the family of javelina? Where is it? Oh, there it is. That, yeah, it looks kind of like, maybe it could be a fox, but it also looks like a coyote. And coyotes are predators of javelina. So this family of javelina better watch out, or that coyote might try to get them, might try to eat them. That's a nice family photo they're taking. I am a javelina. Look close. I have no tail. I live in southwestern deserts with coyotes, jackrabbits, and quail. Let's take a look. Does anybody see the quail? There they are. There's the little quails. What about the coyotes? Anybody see a coyote in this picture? Oh, there it is, up in the corner. A couple of coyotes. And where's the snake? Right by my fingers. Yep. And look who I found hiding. A little pack rat collecting some of that cactus for its own meal. Or maybe to build its house. Cool. So there are a lot of animals that share the desert with javelinas. Like we said, our little quails. It's really cute seeing them walking around out there. We've got lots of rabbits. I've been seeing lots of rabbits out recently, hopping around. And we have an amazing variety of snakes here too. I've never seen a rainbow snake in the desert like this one, but that would be awesome. And of course, coyotes. My fur is coarse and bristly, black and gray with a collar of white. My dark eyes are small and beady. It's true, I have bad eyesight. Look at that javelina wearing glasses. Javelinas in the wild don't actually wear glasses, but what's the point here? Humans wear glasses. I wear glasses when I'm not wearing my contacts because, like a javelina, I don't have very good vision. So they're relying on their other senses. And if they could wear prescription glasses, maybe they would. Now it says here that the fur is coarse and bristly, so they're not like soft, fuzzy like a bunny rabbit, right? They've got coarse, bristly fur. And I have an example here of what the fur of this animal looks like. So here we have another study specimen. Check it out. So it's kind of funny. The hair is so like thick and kind of pokey. It almost reminds me of a porcupine. I mean, they don't have spines or anything. They're not sharp at all, but it sort of reminds me of that just because they're so tough. Look at that, those beautiful colors. Isn't that neat? Very cool. Coarse and bristly fur on these javelinas. My snout is tough as leather. Both plants and fruit I eat. I like the taste of bugs and snakes. Prickly pear cactus is a treat. So there they are having a javelina family picnic. Chowing down. So javelina are plant eaters. So they'll eat cactus and other types of plants, but they'll also eat some animal materials too, like insects, bugs, and even some small reptiles like snakes or lizards. So now I want to ask you, we're going to do a poll because I want to see if you were a javelina, what would your favorite javelina picnic food be? So when Alan gets a chance, we're bringing up the poll here. If I were a javelina, my favorite food would be, so pick the one that you identify with most. A, cactus. It's a juicy treat and spines don't bother me. B, fruit. I have a sweet tooth. I have a sweet tusk. C, bugs. I want a grubby in my tummy. Or D, snakes. They're like pasta noodles. So go ahead and pick which one you would eat. And we'll see the results of our poll. Okay, so most of you said cactus. 53.3% of you said cactus. And then 30% said fruit. Yeah, I have a sweet tusk too. And then we've got some people who want some pasta noodle snakes and a couple people who want some grubby in their tummy. Nice. If I had my way, I would get to eat all 4 of them, but I think I'd probably pick the cactus too. My front teeth are shaped like javelins. The Spaniards thought it so. I use my snout and teeth for digging, gobble roots and berries where they grow. So that's where we get the name for javelina from. Do you see this big, long, like spear-looking thing with a point at the end? That is a javelin. That's what that tool is called. And it reminded people of the sharp tusks that javelina have. So that's where that name comes from, javelinas. Oh, and there's one with those sharp javelin-like tusks. Oh, got some drama happening here. When danger's near, I stand my ground. My safety does not matter. A loud grunt signals to my herd. In all directions, scatter. So it looks like a mountain lion showed up on the scene. And there are basically 2 different strategies that the javelina herd, the family, can use if they are confronted with a predator, with a hunter that might be trying to eat them. Like it said, the first one is to stand their ground, to face off to a predator. So we're going to imagine that we are javelinas. And there's a coyote right here who might try to attack our family, our herd. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to stand our ground. So on the count of 3, when I have the coyote snarl at us, we're going to face the coyote and snarl back. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. We scared it away. Yes, nice teamwork, family of javelinas. We stood our ground. We were tough. We snarled. We clacked our teeth even. And we scared the coyote away. That's pretty good. It probably saw those sharp tusks. Now, the second thing that a javelina can do is to run, obviously. And they do this thing that we say is called a scatter. So that basically means that different javelinas in a family run in all different directions. And that way, the predator, like the coyote, is confused. It doesn't know which javelina to follow. So maybe it doesn't get any of them. So this time we're going to pretend that we're javelinas that are scattering. We're going to imagine that once this coyote snarls at us, that we're going to all run in a different direction, so you can pretend you're zooming in any direction you want. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Scatter! Where did everybody go? Oh, I'm hungry. It looks like it worked. The coyote didn't know which way to run because we all scattered in a different direction. So now I want to take a poll. I want to know, if you were a javelina in a family group, which one of these two things would you do? So you'll see in the poll, you've got, I think, 2 options this time. If I were a javelina and a coyote approached my family, I would A, fight. I'm going to face my fears and defend my pack. Or B, scatter. I'm all about strategy. And I think it's funny when the predator gets confused. So which one of those 2 would you do if you were a javelina? We'll give you another 10 seconds or so before we look at the results of our poll. All right, it looks like most of you would scatter. About a little more than half of you said you're about the strategy, and it's funny when the predator gets confused. And then a little less than the other half of you are like, I'm brave, I'm going to stay and fight, I'm going to defend my pack. Very cool, and having that teamwork is going to help the javelina pack too, having both of those strategies happen. Awesome. Ooh, and one more thing is, I believe we have a slide. Oh, never mind. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's keep reading for now. My skinny legs have just 3 toes. It's my head that grows quite big. But if you want to keep me happy, don't ever call me pig. So is a javelina a piggy? No! It's a peccary. Exactly. And it looks like this javelina here wearing the no pig shirt is getting pretty mad at that rabbit, because I'm guessing the rabbit probably was like, hey, pig. And the javelina's like, don't call me pig. I am a javelina, not a pig at all, you see. In the wilds of southwestern deserts, I'm called collared peccary. My scent is strong and stinky. Sniff. Ooh, you might smell me near. Look close. You may not see me. Only grunting sounds you'll hear. So they blend in pretty well with their environment. So it's kind of hard to see them when they're not moving, especially if they're taking a nap like that. But you can smell them and you can hear them. So now let's flip to the slide and we're going to listen to some javelina sounds. Ooh, there's a picnic. That was our picnic that we had, the javelina foods. And now on the next slide, let's listen. I don't hear anything. Should we try again? Turn up the volume, everyone. Nice. Did you all hear that? It sounded like the javelina was munching on some stuff and making some grunty sounds. So now everybody make some grunty sounds. And another thing that javelina do is they clack their teeth. They clack their jaws. And that's something they can do as a warning. So now everyone pretend that you're a javelina, clacking your teeth. Don't do it too hard though. Nice. Oh, look at those cute javelina. They're so adorable. It was really hard for Alan and me to pick which photos of javelina to show you today because they're all so cute. I have scent glands below each eye, a big one along my back. I use the smell to mark herd land, to know members of my pack. So javelinas are rubbing their smells on each other. And that's how they can tell who's in their family, because they have a family smell. So imagine that you're a javelina and you've got scent glands under your eyes, and you're going to do a javelina handshake with your javelina family so that you all have the same stinky smell and you can recognize each other by your smell. I weigh as much as 60 pounds, stand 2 feet tall. That's big. Just one thing you should remember, don't ever call me pig. I am a javelina, not a pig at all, you see. In Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, I'm called collared peccary. Now you know my story. One last thing before I run. Tell your friends about javelina, because learning is always fun. Woohoo, good story. Now I wonder what you would tell your family about javelina, or your friends, somebody that you know. In the poll, our last poll, I want you to imagine again that you are a javelina, and I want you to vote on which is the coolest thing you think is about you. So let's pull up that poll. If I were a javelina, the most awesome thing about me would be A, I'm not a pig. I'm a sneaky peccary in a piggy costume. B, I have sharp tusks. It's a cool tool attached to my face. Or C, I'm stinky. I live in a smelly, snuggly family. So what do you think is the coolest thing about you, little javelinas? Or javelina? It's kind of funny. Javelina is how you refer to javelinas plural too. There's no S at the end. Still getting used to that. So. All right, let's see the results of our poll. More than half of you said, I have sharp tusks. It's a cool tool attached to my face. And then some of you like that you're stinky. And then some of you are pretty impressed, like, hey, I'm not a pig, I'm sneaky. Great. Very nice, everybody. All right, we're gonna wrap up here in just a minute, but I can't leave you without singing a song, because it is musical story time after all. So this is like a medley. I pretty much I came up with this. There are 3 different songs that maybe the adults in the audience would recognize the tune to, and I just put in some javelina words to it. So let's see how it goes. And you should feel free to get up and dance, groove along. Oh, 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 oh. me javelina, 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 javelina. Oh, oh, javelina. Come on and rock me, javelina, 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 javelina. Oh, 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 javelina. Come on and sniff me, javelina. Here's the second one. See if you recognize the two. We are family. I got all my habits with me. Yeah, we are family. Take a little whiff, yeah, we stink. All right, here's the third part. It's a safety sniff. You can sniff if you want to. Don't you know I smell just fine? Cause my family has a scent, and if you lack that scent, then you're no family of mine. I can sniff if I want to. I can smell so far away. Cause I can't see well, but I can sure smell, and I just have to say, we can sniff. It's the safety sniff. Huh. You can grunt if you want to. You can clack your teeth and tuss. But if you have tusks that aren't straight and sharp, then you might be a swine, and that's fine. But please, please, don't call me pig. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming in to learn about Javelina. Have a good time reading a story and rocking out with me a little bit to some goofy Javelina music. I hope to see you all soon. Have a great rest of your day, evening, afternoon, night, and we will see you next time. Bye, folks.
Hi all, I'm Alan. I did the tech behind today. Thank you so much for joining us with the Arizona-Sonora Desert Museum. Through them for musical story time with our javelinas. We really appreciated seeing all of you. Tomorrow we're going to be drawing with Jesus, and then on Friday Amy is going to be doing another one of our lessons. We have lessons every single day, Monday through Friday at noon. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you soon. Bye!